Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Jasmine, and today we will be breaking down the powerful speech given by Emma Gonzalez at the Broward County Federal Courthouse just 3 days after a gunman entered her school, Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, on February 14, 2018. The gunman committed the fourth deadliest school shooting in United States history, with 17 people killed and 17 others injured. In her 11-minute and 40-second speech, Emma emotionally recounts the events of February 14th, mourns the 17 deaths of her 14 classmates, geography teacher, athletic director, and assistant football coach, as well as she calls out the powerful politicians who have taken donations from the National Rifle Association. Penning the phrase, "We call BS," Emma calls for voters to realize who they are voting into office and begs them to elect people into public office who prioritize gun control, so mass shootings like this are no longer the norm in the United States. By emphasizing the climate of gun safety laws, Emma passionately pleads with voters to elect politicians that agree with her emotional and powerful reasons that gun control is necessary. Here's Maria, Angeli, and Angela with the breakdown.
Thank you, Jasmine. Hello, this is Maria on the topic of the first shift in the speech given by Emma Gonzalez. Gonzalez defensively highlights how gun laws should be enforced, as well as the purchase of guns, to connect back to the necessity of gun control. Gonzalez goes into details that ever since the United States has been founded with the Second Amendment of the Constitution, it just continued to rapidly increase the rate that guns have developed. This emphasizes how the idea of guns being in the United States has been around. However, at the rate that these laws are enforced is not present, since with the purchase of guns, there is no need of a permit and need to register it. By enticing eligible voters, it demonstrates how laws towards guns are no longer applied by the government. This gravitates the urge of gun laws to be applied, as there can be further deleterious consequences. Furthermore, it is astonishing that students and parents would need to worry about one's safety. Ever since students have been in school, the debates of guns has been present, as guns continue to be part of the daily lives of students. When comparing the statistics of other countries compared to the United States, the rate of shootings is far less. In Australia, after one shooting occurred in 1999 in Port Arthur, the shooting would initiate gun safety, and ever since then, the country hasn't had one. In addition, gun control is more likely to be imposed in other countries compared to the United States, as there have been more shootings in the last 10 years since gun laws have been overdue. The idea of gun laws has been long revoked by the American public, as these shootings only become the product of statistics for the convenience of society. Gonzalez ensures to get her message across the nation in order for no other incident to become a statistic. As we gravitate towards more social problems, Gonzalez is one of many that has realized the effects of gun laws not being strict enough.
Thanks, Maria. I'm Angeli, and today I will be presenting your second shift of this moving proclamation. Emma Gonzalez confrontationally highlights the crucial role the shooter's weapon and the sensible people around him played following the events leading up to the shooting. During this declaration, Gonzalez attempts to reach the ears of politicians who support the NRA, as well as those aware of the shooter's mentality, in order to condemn those who played a part in the shooting which could have been avoided. She calls out those who blame the victims for something that was the student's fault, the fault of the people who let him buy the guns in the first place, and the people who encouraged him to buy accessories for his guns to make them fully automatic. Gonzalez stresses the fact that those who permitted the shooter to earn access to that gun should be held accountable, mostly referring to the unconstrained laws formed by the NRA. It is evident that media and audience commentary often blame the innocent and not the people he lived with, and the neighbors who saw him outside holding guns. Bystanders who visualized the shooter's behavior failed to inform those what could have inevitably happened, therefore resulting in an unexpected and horrific mass shooting. Not only does Gonzalez mention the easy access to such weapons, but she also mentions previously that the suspect's mental health should not be a valid excuse for his actions, and that this was not just a mental issue. He would not have harmed that many students with a knife. The suspect's decision to bear arms played a crucial role in the amount of casualties suffered during this act. Knowing that the NRA's loose laws couldn't have possibly prevented this from happening, Gonzalez continues to point blame on the NRA and its supporters who made this act of terrorism possible. Now to you, Angela.
Hi, I'm Angela, and I'm here with your third and final shift of this speech given by Emma Gonzalez. Gonzalez belligerently highlights how eligible voters have a voice and can make future changes in America regarding gun laws and safety.
She appeals to these voters by saying how the media and other companies view them as self-involved and trend-obsessed. By giving these voters something to relate to, Gonzalez demonstrates how even though they might be young, they can still make a difference and stop mass shootings across America. Gonzalez repeats the idea that voters should get the current president out of office and elect someone who can instill stricter laws. With the current events of the shooting, many citizens were scared for their well-being and their families' lives, which is what she wants to ease out. Gonzalez mentions how mental illness can be a factor as to why the Parkland shooting occurred, but in reality it is the FBI not doing background checks on these mentally ill people. Gonzalez pushes how the NRA was not being restrictive in setting up more laws to prevent mentally ill people from getting a hold of firearms. Gonzalez constantly repeats the phrase, "we call BS," to contradict the media when they say that no laws could have prevented the tragedies that have occurred. Gonzalez repeats the words, "we call BS," to ensure that the voters have something that sticks with them after her speech. Gonzalez exclaims how she and other voters will not tolerate the excuses made by the government and will give those who have passed justice. She does not want them to forget the horrible events that happened because the country was not strict about gun safety. Now, back to Jasmine with the closing statement.
Emma Gonzalez's speech is nothing short of an impassioned call to action. Emma shortly after went on to endorse March for Our Lives, which was created by her fellow classmate Cameron Kasky and has since engaged more than 1.2 million people across the world to advocate for stricter gun laws as one of the biggest protests in United States history. The choices of rhetoric used truly paint a picture to allow voters to get a sense of the grief and rage felt not only by Gonzalez but by her community. Gun control in the United States is still a hot-button issue almost 3 years after this mass shooting took place, with 19,000 people dying in the United States from gun violence in 2020 alone. There is still a long way to go, but people like Emma Gonzalez who are unapologetically fighting with every ounce of strength in their body to prevent mass shootings in the United States, there's a definite step in the right direction. Thank you so much for tuning in and have a